Good morning. Just a quick way of fundamental analysis before we even get on the charts on Bloomberg. Sorry, on Bloom Energy. Now, you specifically mentioned that they have an earnings due somewhere close by, right? And we want to figure out whether that's already priced in or not. Now, I'm looking at their earnings, just the annual earnings to start with. What I can see is yes, they're in an upward trajectory, which means potentially they should be able to hit something cool here. However, if you look at the dates, so there is the last 22 earnings was released on 10th of February, and then here if you look, it was on 16th of February, right? In both these cases, we can easily see from the chart what happened next. Also, if you look at a quarterly trend, the Q1 they have missed, Q2, which is right now, they've got to show some significant earnings growth here if they have to be on this annual trajectory, right? Because Q1's obviously been a miss, and even previously, if you see, it looks like whatever their business is based on that, a majority of their earnings actually comes in the quarter three, so that might be a better opportunity to tap into rather than the quarter two. However, this is like sub results and really a very coarse way of looking at things. But let's just look at quickly what happened on 10th of February after a positive year, and on 16th of February 24. So if you go to the charts and if you look for 10th of February, so I'm on a daily chart right now. 10th of February is precisely where my pointer is right now. Great result, great year. Since then, stock goes into a downward spiral. Yeah. Let's get to February 24. I think it was about the 16th of Feb. Yeah, great result. Again, the same as before. But what you can see is there is a preceding down move in this case, right? So a down move followed by a great result had actually resulted in a massive up move, because that in percentage is actually almost 100%. So you see how a down move followed by a good result is actually a good sign, whereas in the previous case in February before, an up move followed by a great news was bad for the price. Now that gives you your first guess on what to expect if they are to follow a proper quarterly result now. However, because this is not their yearly report, I don't think it's going to have a massive bearing on the price. Okay. What I've done is I've just for now I've just plotted these earnings calendars. I'm going to hide them now from the charts, so we're not going to see earnings anymore. This is currently the point where you're trying to take a trade. Now, technically, so if you look at it, should you take a trade at this point? The answer is from a daily candle point of view, yes, there was a trough before, a ready to buy signal has appeared, and we see the price hitting this point, right? So I'd probably put my stop loss somewhere around here, which I think even you've done already, and then we're checking if there is a potential up. The answer is yes, there is a clear trade available here. So all we have to do is from daily, now we have to ask our two bosses, which are the weekly time frame and the monthly time frame, the question that if I'm going to pick this trade up, what is going to be the future of this trade? So the first thing we do is we go on a weekly chart, and I'll just hide these as well. So we just see that the um, the trade that we've plotted. So I'm going to hide that right now. What you can clearly see there is this previous weekly resistance available. So there was a weekly crest formed here. Again, the price goes down, and then there is a weekly crest formed here. So essentially, this first resistance, it has gotten hit here one time, it gets hit here second time. What it means is now, if the price goes and hits it a third time, probably, and a weekly candle closes above this zone, above this 18 line, you're potentially looking at a $24 target. I think that's in USD, yeah, that's dollars, right? Why 24 again? Because if you come on the left hand side of the chart and if you look, so there was an up move here followed by a down trend. So the starting point of the red candle is what I'm looking for. Similarly, if I look on my left hand side, again, this is the starting point of a downtrend weekly candle, right? So these are my targets. Now, I'm pretty well poised here from a target point of view. So finally, if we look even at the indicator below, that's a plus. We're going to minimize it. Let's just focus purely on the price. And now we start our background coded layers. So we'll just go very step by step on this. Now, you've made a reference to this trough. Yes, it can provide a support, but if you look at a weekly support now, instead our support actually should go down to 22%, which means we'll need to hit a target of 40, 50%. That's already starting to look slightly tougher from a weekly point of view, right? And if I go to a monthly, that's where the problem really is. So if you go for a hawk's eye view, this is what I call a hawk's eye view. You can see the price has actually stepped down and now is struggling to cross the yellow band. So if I just go here and I choose to hide the background color, right, the gray color, let's just hide that for a sec. Now you can see that the price is actually struggling to cross the yellow zone. How do I get a clear confirmation whether it will cross this yellow zone or not? There is this black line in between. So the way this candle has gone up and closed above the black line, I need one more candle which goes and closes above 15. So my monthly candle, and because I've plotted monthly candles now, here on the price you can see there is still 5 days and 15 hours left for this monthly candle to get completed. What it means is I'll have to wait for that time, or it's just a premature entry. The main problem on a monthly chart is there is this yellow zone which is in this moment acting as a resistance. If the price was trading above and the price falls to the yellow zone, in that case the yellow zone acts as a support, which you can probably see here. So the price falls down to the yellow zone area, it acts as support, but finally it is broken down the yellow zone, right? So this is the first time the price is making an intent to get back on, and hence unfortunately in this case we'll have to wait out the time. If I go to a weekly zone, however, there is positivity, which means in the short term I have a clear trade available. So what is my final answer for you? If this was an investment bet, I would say the answer is yes from a slightly longer term point of view. But if your normal bet size is $1,000, in this case you are better off making the bet size at $500 and instead aiming for a three times the target, right? um, I would not go for my full bet size on this just because the probability is lower. I hope that that clarifies what to do about this stock at the moment. um, there are a few other questions on the points that you mentioned about the last trough getting formed, or something that you mentioned in the bullet points. Now that's proper analysis from a daily point of view. All I would say is just change the graph to a weekly, and your information now gets further more clear and precise, right? So, and find your trade on a daily time scale, but analyze it against a weekly time scale. That provides a lot of clarity. And in this case, the uptrend in the stock will soon begin provided it manages to stay above the yellow zone. You see this one candle closed above the yellow zone, but then the follow-up cannot go further higher. So there is some resistance here that still needs to be cleared out. I'd actually be happy to buy this stock expensive at 18 plus, because currently I still don't know if this trend is going to survive at this point of time. At least from the previous a couple of weeks, it looks like the price has been factored in momentarily into it. Um, about the question on have we missed the July trough? Yes, I think an initial move has already happened, which was 60 odd percentage just a couple of weeks before, unfortunately. Because if you look on a weekly time scale, your ready to buy signal appears here. So potentially you would have bought something somewhere around this point here, right? So your trade would have been, the price drops down, your trade would have been buy here with a stop loss of 20% and a target of 40 odd percentage, I think, which is pretty much almost done. But again, Finally, yes, the trade is done. If you still want to get into it on a daily time frame, you can choose to do so, but at least minimize the bet size because the probability on this one is lower. If it closes above 17, however, it's going to go non-stop till 24. That's going to be a massive bull run that the price is going to be on if it closes above 18 and absorbs all that pressure at the 18 zone, right? Hopefully, I think that answers most of your questions. But difficult to answer that on the email. I'm sorry, but yeah. Um, Also, it's good to see how you plotted the trough lines on the chart. That's really bang on and on target. Uh, I hope that's clarity for now. I'll sort the remaining queries if any on WhatsApp.